The Will of the Many is an epic fantasy novel written by Australian author James Islington, originally published on May 23rd, 2023. This book is the first in the Hierarchy series, with the second book, The Strength of the Few, expected to publish on November 11th, 2025, which at the time of this recording is just a few days away. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to Affable Chat. Typically on this show, we discuss movies, but today we're doing something a little different, something more of the book variety. I'm joined today by Catonycus to discuss The Will of the Many. Catonycus, welcome back to Affable Chat.
Yeah, stronger together, Benjamin.
Stronger together, yes. Such a uniting phrase, something that definitely doesn't have hostile undertones.
Yeah, surely there's no negative connotation to stronger together.
Yes, exactly. Well, let's just dive right into it with The Will of the Many. This is a book that came highly recommended by you to me.
Yes.
And I'm, this is usually a movie podcast. I'm more of a movie guy. I think it's tough in today's pop culture environment to sometimes justify reading when there's all these things that you want to short attention span watch. But I think just to get started on kind of my reaction to this book, once I got started this one, it was kind of easy to choose to dive deeper into it. So I'm really excited to talk about this book with you. Let's start with your overall thoughts for The Will of the Many.
Sure. Yeah. Quick overall thoughts. This book is amazing. I would say like 8.5 out of 10. Okay. It is action-packed. It's politically driven. The stakes are incredibly high. Viz is a great character in the sense that he can basically overcome any odds that are stacked against him. But I also hold him to this as a fault, why the book's not a 10 out of 10. I like to see my main characters struggle. I do want to see them fail, making their lessons hit home that much harder when they inevitably succeed. Viz rarely faces any true setbacks other than the odds stacking more in his opposition's favor. Him always overcoming these odds does detract from his journey, but this does not mean his journey is not impactful. Viz has no allies. He's not open to anyone with his full truth. Any person that he trusts is always missing a piece of his puzzle, which is a strong representation of his arc into synchronism, which we've barely scratched the surface in terms of what is going on in this series. And I'm so looking forward to what comes next in The Strength of the Few. This story has its flaws, but unlike the hierarchy itself, the foundation of this story is one of my favorite stories that has ever been told. A child orphaned into a grueling life of vengeance, forced to work their way through their antagonist's political structure, their fate intertwined within the mythos, staring down undefeatable odds, struggling with their moral compass of right and wrong, romanced to a political adversary, being constantly tested to be better than the day they were before, and being the centroid to the novella's pyramid. The Will of the Many is an absolute banger.
Wow. I mean, bravo. You really encapsulated it all right there. And I totally agree. This is really the thing that captured my imagination early on in reading this was the way that James Islington is able to capture spectacle with I would say the turning point for me where I went from, okay, this is an interesting book to like, okay, I'm committed to reading this book was the theater scene where he fights the sextus.
He fights a sextus, yeah.
Yes, and especially the way that the chapter structure kind of a lot of times will end in a building to a climax where it's like, okay, and here it goes, and you can just feel the audience and their energy there, and how the stakes are so stacked against him. There's no way he's going to come out on top here,
right?
Especially early on, you don't have no idea who this guy is or what he's capable of, and to witness that fight, which again is I really love James Islington's prose because I feel like I do get transported into the book, and I can see so vividly what's happening.
That's so good, yeah.
Yeah, and like I forget that I'm reading, right? And then you're just there, and in a way that only books can transport you somewhere.
Yeah.
which with a book like this, and I love, I guess it's it's just funny because we both read a different book together, which we don't have to mention the book by name, but
Yes.
it was a much it was not as well written book, and it's comparing that to what we're getting in The Will of the Many. I am able to appreciate so much more the talent of a great author, somebody who really has
Yes.
mastered their craft and is
Yeah.
able to transport us into the book.
Yeah, I love like yeah, there's so many different settings in this book where you can like smell the ocean and you can like feel the rocks beneath Viz's feet, you know, and yeah, just being totally transported is such an experience. And again, unlike any that's been one of the arcs. My arcs is reading books more as an adult, but like it just hits so much different when you like open the book and it's just like you're just there in the world. I love being in a character's head. It's so awesome. It's just such a unique feeling. It's and I've yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and it's such like I don't feel like it's a novel thing to say, except sometimes I think it is because as adults, I don't feel like it's as popular to read books. Like there's people who clearly love books and there's bestsellers, authors make a living.
Yeah.
But I also feel like a lot of people are just busy and this is not their like go-to thing. But when you have something great, it competes with everything else as far as
Yeah.
entertainment goes. Um, and I also appreciate that the book isn't just I appreciate some of the things that the book touches on because some of the major themes that we go across in this book, I feel like this book has a lot to say, and that's another thing that makes me feel like uh, I want to stick around to see where we eventually go
Yeah.
because obviously the book is telling us what's like for one of the things what's bad about this form of government slash control
Yeah.
and there's but also I want to see where the book pushes us to see what's actually better. Um, because eventually I'm hoping it seems like this is going to be able to make a change in this hierarchy and
Yeah.
change the way that things work. So one of the first things I think this book kind of brings up is the idea of meritocracy and how it's the hierarchy is not a meritocracy, despite having that be kind of implied in its
Yes.
own messaging and kind of the way that things like Stronger Together make it seem like the people who are in power for a reason, but then we're shown all these examples of why that's actually not true. And I think what James Islington does with Vis's father is try to bring in this idea of like a truly moral ruler who deserves to rule as much as they possibly can. And one of the things that he says that kind of expresses this is that he says that um, no form of government is immune from mistakes from corruption, but the corruption is the hierarchy's foundation, so they're like built on lies and corruption and needs to be torn down.
Yeah. Um yeah, I mean, just like the way that, right, like, uh, uh, I really love Calidus in this book. He kind of gives you he's like the lore dumper, right?
Yeah,
Where you like figure out all the other shit that's going on because he's like, stupid smart. Um, and he has him and Viz have that conversation where he's basically like like how could you possibly look at this structure and think that it's fair? Like
yeah,
you thinking that like you are better than basically everyone here. Like you could be Domitor, but there's always going to be slime bags like your teacher who's not going to
mm-hmm.
let you succeed purely based on the fact that he just doesn't like you. And and so it makes this structure really tough, and it's a really good representation of how difficult it's going to be for someone like Viz to rise within it, and which makes me so intrigued because he fucking does overcome everything. So
Yeah,
what is he going to do that makes him, rise to the top? Like what crazy shit happens next?
yes.
And
Also, pour one out for my boy Calidus. That was
Yeah.
definitely a gut wrenching,
Yes.
like him carrying him back as
Yes.
Calidus is dying, and like
Yeah.
dumping his body at the feet of the principal, whatever,
The
uh,
Principalis.
the Principalis. Yes. Although,
Veridus.
let me just take a moment to bring up the fact that I read this on my Kindle,
Oh,
and
very nice.
did not listen to it. So I'm the beta, like pronouncing things however I want in my head,
Yeah.
versus like the Chad who listens and knows
Yeah, of
exactly
course,
how
yes.
it's
But
intended
the
to be pronounced.
difference is, but here's your strength, Ben, is that you know how everything is spelled.
That's
They don't.
true.
So this is the because I also read this on my Kindle. Um, not to flex, but I actually own this book physically. Here, you can see it.
Whoa.
You can actually can't see anything because there's nothing on it when it's the hardcover like this. But this is my physical copy. Actually, the first book that I purchased while living here in Massachusetts. But I read the first half of this book, like part one slash halfway through part two,
Hmm.
physically, and then my Libby like popped off as soon as you said that you bought it. I was like, oh shit, he's serious. And then I put my Libby noti in to try to get it digitally for this process, and it didn't hit until I was halfway through the book, but thankfully it did because I fucking love reading on my Kindle.
Mm.
Because I also read, I would say I read maybe like 10 to 15% of this book was read on my phone
Oh
because
wow.
I dabble between both. But that's just based on situation and kind of what's going on. Um,
Yeah, it's
how have you liked your Kindle?
oh, I love it, especially
Yeah,
the
it's a
highlight
game changer.
feature.
Oh, the highlight feature is a
Yes.
game changer, dude. I
Yes.
highlight so much shit.
Yes, and it's I actually had a Kindle a while back, and then when I got married, I gave it to my wife because she's like an actual avid reader, and then
Mm.
I got this Kindle specifically because I wanted to read this book. And while I do love the feel of a hardback book, I especially love seeing the pages like pile up on the left side, and the
Oh,
ones on the
yeah,
right get
seeing
smaller. That's a good feeling.
my entire life is dictated by the percentage of a book completed in the bottom right-hand
Yes.
corner.
Well, and I
Uh,
also the thing is, I also appreciate that because I actually did the math and figured out how many percentage I needed to read each day to
yep.
stay on track.
Yeah.
And for a while, that was important because this is a decently long book,
Yeah, this
but
book is over 600 pages.
yeah, but also it's funny because when I first started reading it, I was like, dang, this is going to take me forever to read. But then once you start building momentum, there's
Oh.
not enough
And
book left.
I know. Like this book, I swear, like I was reading it and I was like, I feel like I'm missing a part. Like is something that I'm just forgetting about because this was my second read of this book, and just I was just like, nope. It's just because I feel like the first time you read a book, you like right, you like it's almost like when you're traveling to a place that you've never been before, and you like get there, and then the walk home is like way faster than the walk there. It's
Yes.
pretty similar. Like I feel like the my journey there, I felt like it's like felt so much longer. And but the second time around, I was like, oh my god, like this is happening so quickly. Like, please, I don't want this to end.
Yes. Also, you get familiar with the world because
Yeah,
I went back and reread a few earlier parts just to kind of familiarize myself, or just basically go back and be like, what's my perspective now? And
yeah,
it's crazy how much I was able to catch on to the vocabulary of the world. And that just makes it that much clearer when you're
yeah.
reading it, what's
Well,
actually going on.
yeah, and going back, especially like right, because you're gonna go back and be like, oh, what did I highlight?
Yes.
But you go back and read it, and like it's all there. Like it's been you've been
Oh,
getting the
yeah.
vocabulary from the beginning. You just didn't really understand it in the beginning, and now that you understand, you go back, you're like, oh, damn, like he said exactly this then, you know. Yeah, I love that.
So, just touching on a few more of the themes that like came through, along with kind of this idea that meritocracy is a bit of a myth. They also have this idea of fighting the system and how you, whether or not you should, or whether or not doing that is moral. They have the quote from Estevan where he says, "Silence is a statement, Diago. Inaction picks a side, and when those lead to personal benefit, they are complicity." and
Mm.
basically saying it's like, hey, if there's injustice going on and you're benefiting from it and you're not fighting against that injustice, then you're complicit in it as well.
Yeah.
Which at the time I was thinking that the uh is it anguis or angui?
I go with the anguise,
That's how,
but
okay, anguis. There is a glossary, but we'll just go with anguis for our
yeah.
conversation. And originally, I was like, they're clearly the good guys, and
Mm.
they're like, this will eventually be Vis joining them. And then there's this whole conversation about how everyone who's part of the hierarchy is complicit. By ceding will, they
Yes,
are part of the problem
they're part of the
and by
problem.
definition your enemy, which justifies massacring them like crazy. So
Yes,
this pulls us into this incredibly gray moral area because
that's the best place to find yourself in these books, dude. The best
yes,
place.
yes, because I mean the way that the Namakya
The
is
Namakya.
is described is so brutal and
Oh, yeah, people are just people like yeah, people by the hundreds are just being leveled to death. Like
yes,
and it's just like one wave after the next. This fucking Melor, the leader of the Anguisse, is just fucking annihilating people because right, because the way that the pyramid is set up is that if you kill the masses, the stronger above them get weaker because they're getting less of their will, right?
yes,
And so yeah, you're right. Like doing these basically terrorist attacks makes so much sense for them
yes, and
in order to take them down.
you hear some of the senators like trying to be like, oh, it was tough for me,
Yeah,
I blacked out because
yeah,
so
like
many people.
I lost 200 people in my pyramid. Like think of me,
Right. And again, it's like in their world, unironically, they probably are like, yeah, so that is sad for you that your pyramid got hit so hard. But the at the same time, even though I feel like the book easily makes it clear that the hierarchy is bad and that you should be against it, it's hard to co-sign this kind of brutality, especially for people who are at the bottom, who don't benefit as much or aren't necessarily seeding because they feel like they're even going to be able to move up a level. They're doing it
Right.
because they're kind of just under the rule of the
Well,
status quo.
they're having to do it because like they have a family of 5 to feed and they
Yes.
cannot they don't have time to work on their career to like to try to climb this pyramid, which they'll never be able to because they've never been given the resources to do so.
Right.
So
Not,
it's
and
just
not
like
to mention, definitionally, the pyramid cannot have everyone at the top. So
exactly,
it's
yes.
like it wouldn't work. You have to stay at the bottom. So,
Yes.
but then we also get one of the things I do appreciate about the Will of the Many is that for all its kind of posturing and for whatever you want to say, like making a point about the types of like what should be happening or trying to virtue signal about the moral way to rule, they still give us different perspectives and they're not just on the nose and saying this is right, this is wrong.
Yeah.
With Cadmos, the servant
The servant
who is
for
in
Ulsic
Ulcizor's like
Ulsicor? I don't know. I don't know
yeah,
either.
I call them Ulcizor or Ulcizor, whatever.
Oh, Ulcizor.
His father, his adopted father. This
His
is
adopted father.
adopted father. He
Which just for I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
um it's I feel like this part was really hard for me to do on like it's always hard to me for me to do initially because you really are going to identify with Viz the most because you're reading from his perspective. But age wise, like we're Ulsicor's age. Like he's 36.
Mm-hmm.
He's a young man. That is like adopting a 17-year-old. Anyway, continue.
Yes. No, and well, in Cadmos is like an older man who
Yes.
has sees himself in this, and he has this quote where he says, "There comes a point in every man's life where he can rail against the unfairness of the world until he loses, or he can do his best in it, remain a victim, or become a survivor." And for him, that means joining with the hierarchy, basically stop resisting and thrived as
Yes.
best you can within the the
Well,
structure there.
especially in Viz's specific case, now Cadmos is not aware of all the planning and specifically who Viz is in this scheme that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But to go from orphan to adopted by a well-known family name in this in this political structure, yeah, dude, you could thrive in this community. Like you could do really well for yourself, but doesn't really have the context of Viz and his situation. But you're right
Right.
that it's just another perspective where, hey, what if Viz does just kind of fold and he says, I'm going to be a part of this and try to change from within, maybe.
Right. And that's like, I do think, truthfully, I don't feel like it's a big temptation for this, but I think it's a big temptation for us as the like audience to be like, what if you just gave up the fight and just committed, like, joined in with all this opportunity?
Yeah.
You're winning the lottery here multiple times,
Right.
but not willing to cash it in because of your principles. So I think that does say a lot about this as like who he is, because I mean, they did murder his family. So there's that.
Oh
There's
yeah.
like there's a lot of reason why he would not ever want to be complicit
Yes.
in this organization. But it's like his family that he's just joining, they didn't specifically personally murder his family, but there's still no temptation for him really to switch off of that. No matter how leisurely or how much easier his life would get in that circumstance, which also brings you to another theme that I feel like goes throughout this book, which is like living up to the family legacy, or
Oh
kind of
yeah.
surviving on behalf of your family without corrupting their memory.
Yeah.
This whole time, the whole book, this is kind of thinking back to what it was like to live on Seuss, the things that he learned while he was being raised, especially from his father. And one of the quotes that I really liked from his dad was like, nervousness means there's a fear to be faced ahead, Diago. The man who is never nervous never does anything hard. The man who is never nervous never grows. And that's super applicable to this, because there's all these countless examples throughout the book where it's like he's just going for it. The odds are against him. If he
Yeah.
fails, it is over, but
If he
he
fails, he
goes for it anyway.
dies.
Yes.
It's he's doing shit where he's like being thrown off cliffs, and he's like basically everything that he does is this one step that is either going to be I'm succeeding or I die.
Yes.
which is like I mean, obviously if he dies the story kind of ends, or does it? Because there's now like multiple versions
now
of
there's
him.
three of him.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
there's three of him.
But I feel like this is super applicable to this, but also just applicable to real life. It's almost
Yeah.
stoic in it's like almost like Marcus Aurelius has this quote where he like is thinking to himself about how he was not meant to stay in his bed, even though it is comfortable, even though it's cold out there, and he knows he's going to encounter all these challenges throughout the day, and it's going to suck. But that's how you grow. That is how you become, who all that you're meant to be. And I think they do a good job of showing why Vis is capable of building himself up the way that he does, because he was raised that way. He was prepped for these things. And that's
Yes.
going back a little bit to like the criticism, because the first thing I saw on Reddit was this debate about whether or not this is a Gary Stew,
Yeah.
right? Is if
He's just
he
like he's like unkillable basically, right? Or like
Yes.
it's just like he's just constantly overcoming these insane odds that would basically kill anyone else. Which is definitely a flaw in this book, right? This is kind of the controversial part of this specific book. Is there's a lot of questioning of, is this a young adult book versus is this just fantasy science fiction?
Mm,
Because typically in most of your science fiction fantasy novels, your hero is not this unkillable thing, even though
yeah.
like that is kind of how the story plays out. It's just that Viz never really experiences any setbacks that, again, is more than just like the opposing side becoming stronger and then him still overcoming those odds.
Right.
This is very like shonen anime-esque, where it's just
Yes.
like every single thing that could go wrong does go wrong, but the hero still succeeds.
Hmm.
So you're right that I think that's a pretty good debate to have about this book.
Well, and I will say I can't come up with a counterexample where there is a situation where Vis is challenged to something, tries his best, and cannot overcome, and is truly defeated in any real sense. I feel like
Yeah.
he always comes out on top, even though he'll come out mangled or whatever. He always achieves the thing that continues to move the plot along.
Yeah.
And so I do think that's a real criticism. But at the same time, I will say for a Gary Stew, he's very well supported in his ability to win. Like there's always a reason. It's not
Yeah.
just nothing, even if it's super convenient. Like winning the fencing, or like, kind of the sword fighting will robot
Yes.
competition. The way that he wins
Where
is
they're cheating. They're cheating. Like,
exactly right.
yeah.
Exactly. It's like it's even worse than facing the best person of his age at this. It's that person is also cheating and he's
Yeah.
still able to win. But the fact that he did grow up doing sword fighting anyways, not with this will imbued uh, suit of armor, but still in the same kind of territory, and
Yeah.
also the fact that he ends up winning ultimately by smashing dude's head into the ground.
Hmm.
It's something that if you don't try to debunk it, or you don't try to justify him being a Gary Stu, it can be a very, very enjoyable win.
So
And I feel like that happened over and over again.
it does. But what I would, I think maybe my one counter argument would be that I think that there is some form of like prophecy that we are witnessing.
Oh.
So there is, I gotta find it. There is the passage that he reads on his way into the labyrinth, um, where it's like, I'll read it. So it's like, herein lies the way to Lucium and Obitium, offered to all of those who would contest our extinction. He's like translating this, so he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
understand what he's reading. Know that none who accepts this task may remain. The burden of togetherness, harmony is reserved for the ones who seals authors, the authors of the war from this world. Only he may exceed the hobbled capabilities of this duplication. He and he alone may risk harmony to make the great sacrifice. And then he's like, fuck. um, but like, I do think that he's kind of on this journey where he is kind of has to be unkillable, because it seems like that there is some sort of legend that someone has to live up to, and we're reading it through that person's eyes. So of course he's going to win at everything, right? Same with um, Viz kind of is giving Paul Atreides a little bit,
Yeah.
where it's
Oh,
like,
big time.
right, he's
Yes.
like been kind of nurtured into this role. I mean, his father, he has visions of his dad where like in the beginning his dad like it's like, I think it's his family is escaping and his dad has an opportunity to pull him up easily because he's his fucking dad, he's the king, and he drops him instead to be like live on, or I don't know, be more. And then he sees him again, like low key, kind of on his deathbed, or he's in the infirmary,
Mm-hmm.
and his father basically tells him the same shit. He's like, "You got this. Like, you got to keep fighting." Um, but yeah, he was trained in all these crazy languages. He's incredibly smart. He's strong as shit, and he's also not consuming will like any of the other characters are. So that kind of gives him this, like, I don't know, this thing that maybe he has access to that other people don't have access to. I don't know,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah. No, I think that's definitely implied. That there's some sort of purity almost by not having seeded will ever. Um, so yeah, okay. I'm definitely like picking up on that now. The like prophecy of this, and
well,
there's
because
nothing that can
the
stop him.
I think, and now this is kind of like going into like the theory of what happens next, but I think that it's right. You have the res, or whatever the original world is. They're all like, all of the guardians showing the labyrinth thing or whatever.
Hmm.
They are people who failed this prophecy, right? Because that guy says, um, ah, damn
What's
it,
his name? Artemis Cell. He
Artemis
said, I
Cell.
was known
Yes.
as Artemis Cell. I was a traitor to the commandment of isolation. I attempted to gain synchronism and remove the seal to Obidium during the rebellion of the seventh era after the rending. I have thus been lawfully condemned to servitude, guiding those who come after.
So what I kind of infer from that is that this was a person from Viz's world that defeated the labyrinth, that synchronized, and then tried to reunite all three worlds and failed. Because something about
Mm.
Obitium is wrong, right? Or one side is thinking it's wrong. My interpretation is that the powerful of the will of the many, or whatever, the people at the top of the pyramid don't want this to happen because it's the quote unquote cataclysm, right?
Yes.
So, but now Viz is like also in this role because uh, 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 Emisa,
Yes.
the female love interest,
Yes.
um, she starts seeding Will at the end and fucking throws her knife at him,
The
right?
betrayal.
The betrayal. But she had to. She had to because he was infected with the synchronism, right? And he
Uh,
wasn't supposed to be. I don't know. This is all speculation. I have no idea what happens next. Um, but
yeah, I will say that, as we're recording this on November 7th, 2025, the hierarchy subreddit is all people who are going to their local bookstores and coming home with the strength of the few.
yeah,
I guess,
they have pre-releases that happen that people
yeah.
get the
So
pre-release.
the spoilers are already out there,
Oh
with
no,
none here. We have,
I have to
yeah.
avoid the hierarchy subreddit.
Yes, and no spoilers here. This is just for the first book, and but yeah, and like getting back to like Amissa uh, seating Will there at the end. I, I mean, just aside, that was devastating for me. I was definitely shipping him and Amissa.
Oh yeah, same. I'm
I
still
was
holding out
hurt.
hope, dude. I'm still holding out hope. But
But he
yeah,
can't. He can't. He said it from the beginning. He knows he can't be in a relationship.
yeah,
It's gonna compromise him. Although, and again, that kind of jumps us into the next theme throughout this book is deception and keeping secrets. And of
yeah,
course, this is like this has is like I wouldn't say it's a compulsive liar, but like he's a prolific liar. Dude can like is lying to everyone in all different ways,
yes.
and it is at any moment could reveal himself and completely like
Blows
die,
cover. Yeah,
like, yeah, because he like reveals something, and it's I honestly find it so stressful reading this book and having to keep up with all of his different stories
oh
and all of his
yeah.
different lies, and
Because
it makes me feel dirty to like have to be like rooting for such a liar. But I
yeah,
will also say he's not the only liar. The senators, when they all get together, they're all talking about the different lies they've got going on, and
yeah,
all the other students have their secrets and like secret reasons why they're doing the stuff they're doing. So like for me, The Will of the Many is a book about lying in a
yes.
way that I've never read before.
Yeah, there's all the deceit. Yes, I mean, like specifically with uh, the senators, right? Like they are like funding the Anguisse, right? Like
Yes.
they're in this because it's like a power play for them. Except they have no idea what they're unleashing upon the world. But Viz, yeah, I mean, he lies. He's lying to everyone about something differently, but he's so. You're right. He's so good about like he just like he fact checks everyone about his own lying, and he's like right, so they can't like dispute what he's talking about. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think one of the, yeah, I call it a big theme, but really it was one of the things that stuck out to me the most is the just the layers of deception and the necessity for that, and it's just throughout the entire book, and also the way that that kind of drains our main character because, like, for instance, he's very good at sticking to his principles,
Yeah,
and those like his principles really keep him alive, but his willingness to allow Emissa, definitionally one of his enemies,
yeah,
to be like this love interest for him, is because he's human. He's a 17-year-old boy, which at the end of the book I was like, wait, he just turned 18? I forgot he was 17, because he's way
yeah,
tougher than me.
yeah,
But it's so human of him to seek that kind of companionship, to have somebody that their presence brings him up. He always talks about how it's like just that time he spent with her kind of restores him, and how just thinking about it brings a smile to his face. And I'm like, that's so real. And
yeah.
makes him, it fleshes him out as a person to have him be vulnerable to that and allow that
Yes,
into his life, knowing that it can never be, and it's a
yeah,
bad idea. And ultimately, she ends up stabbing him in the stomach.
yeah. Which, yeah, I mean, heart wrenching that like at the end it wasn't him betraying her, it was her betraying him. Even though I do think that there's some underlying context yet to be revealed about the whole
Yes.
situation, and I really I'm rooting for them, even though I know that it can never be. Um, yeah, I do love like yeah, because it's the fun of like the like guy behind enemy lines trying to like work their way up the political ladder. Um, is like it's just who's gonna get him? Someone's gonna get him, and I don't, and you have no idea where it's coming from because he fucking lies to everyone. He's not truthful
Yes.
to anyone but himself, and even then, he's kind of lying to himself. Um,
Well, and then
uh,
if you lie so often, who even are you? Right. And
yeah,
I think he
yeah,
struggles with that too, is like understanding who he is. Although I think that's why going back to Seuss hits so hard because it's a return to a place that made him and the fact that it's not totally gone for all of the restructuring and changing the decorations and
yeah,
trying to redefine the cultural food. There's still a presence there that he's able to tap into and enjoy that
yeah,
like one last solitary meal where everyone knows it is him and he's back. So it
yeah.
gives you that hope that it's like not all is not lost.
But also at the same time, because there's so many angles that are happening in this book, and so many different, which again is kind of like this representation of him in the synchronism situation. But like Relusha's play on him to send him to Seuss to find out information that she already knows is simply to get him back in the fight, right? Like
Mm,
to feel the loss that he felt so long ago, to be like, these fucking assholes that killed my family, that hung my sister over the ocean, is playing volleyball on the beach that I grew up at. Like fuck these people. Like this is my home that you took from me purely because we didn't want to be a part of this broken government. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a really good play by Relusha, and the Anguisse and whoever else is playing at that angle.
no, I agree. And that, again, just going on those multiple layers of lies, it's also all the different players who are pulling the strings. Like,
Yes,
this is obviously an important person here, but he's a pawn in like 7 different schemes that are
yes,
like all happening intertwined with each other. So that, another big like portion of this book. And then my final big theme kind of thing that goes across the whole book is enduring intense pain. This goes through it constantly
all the
throughout
time.
this whole book. He's getting the shit beat out of him in the theater. He's training super hard at Ulcizor's like
Like house,
villa.
yeah,
Yes, like being a student at the academy is no walk in the park. Freaking jumping off the transvect. Oh well, the transvect exploding and then
yes,
like getting attacked, but also jumping out of the transvect and having to go on this really long survival journey, witnessing the horrors of some of these ruins that he's exploring.
yes.
It's just one bad day after another, and this is just enduring it all.
And it's not even just physical pain, it's emotional pain too, right? Him going back to Seuss and like being in his room,
Yes.
or like having to come to these terms, like how about killing somebody for the first time, somebody that like
Yes.
it's and he didn't even want to do it, it was like it was forced upon him because it was all like part of the plan because he's this pawn. Yeah, he's definitely going through it. And then also to successfully run the labyrinth. Oh, fuck
Yes.
yes, dude. That's so awesome. I love that part.
I think that is a really like the labyrinth itself, I think was a really masterfully executed portion of the storytelling because I don't know. You think about like something like that. It's like obviously he's going to solve the labyrinth. Like
Yeah,
it's like such a big part of the book. But the way that they make it infused with kind of the academy, which is its own tiny little hierarchy, and then the way that it makes sense how this is like a trial, and they allow you to test run by sending other souls through, and then
yeah,
you can see a top down view of
yes.
the other thing. I just thought it was so well executed, and we got to just go layer by layer, understanding more and more about why this thing matters so much.
Yeah.
And again, allowing him to start with the replica that was made at Ulcizor's like villa
Because
gives us something to believe in when he eventually is the one who's the best at it
yeah,
in the end.
and all because Ulsasaur is obsessed with Carrier. We haven't even talked about Carrier yet.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
it's like the
Finding
whole
him at the end of the
yes.
book, I was like, there he is.
Yes. He's because obviously what took place is, right, he did it. He fucking synchronized.
Yes.
And but then I guess like the part that stayed behind didn't want to live anymore. And so like coming to terms with like, what the fuck is going to happen to the
Ugh.
Viz's perspective that we've been reading from. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, Ulsasaur is obsessed, right? Like he is willing to do anything to find out what happens to his brother. But I think it's less about him finding out about what happened to his brother and more about revenge on who was the person who killed his brother, even though his brother probably did commit suicide. Like um, that, or maybe it was the Principalis Veritas did kill him, his friend, because he was tainted, like the others who synchronized, right?
Right,
Um,
right. Well, it sounds
yeah,
like
there's so many.
synchronizing is a pretty brutal experience.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah, because you're like in this you're in a chamber that has no oxygen, like you can't breathe out or in, and then
yeah,
you're kind of like vaporized almost, and then and then nothing, and then seemingly to you nothing happens because you just come out, but then you have like magical powers or of some sort.
of some sort, right? That are
Yeah.
not super well explained yet. But also, I was reading back the portion where where Vis kills what's his
Malor.
name? Yeah, yes,
And
Melor.
there's like the like aura that he like steps
Yes.
into, and there's like he sees visions,
Yes,
or like
and he
it's like
has a
illusion.
similar feeling of like his flesh being stripped from his bones, which
Yeah.
like is almost word for word the way that it's described the sensation of the
Yes.
synchronizing. So it's like, well, what did that
Well,
mean?
well, and I mean, we're aware that the Anguisse have these members that have synchronized, right? That the guy at the end who is like killing all the other
Yes.
students, he's like, you and I are the same, and he's like, I've never met you, like I don't know you, and he's like, you will, and then he taps his heart 3 times and then disappears, because
And he's
he's
like, you're gonna lose that arm.
yeah, oh yeah, he does.
And he was
How
right.
does the fuck does he know that?
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so yeah, so there's so it's not out of the question that Milor also had these powers, and that's how he was able to fucking level people. He wasn't even seeding will or using will. He was just having these magic powers. Oh man, there's so many different shit going on in this book. I'm so excited for the next one.
Oh man, it is so good. And it's yeah, the way that the book ends does such a great job of raising the stakes to a brand new level. I feel like
Yes,
by the time we get to how do we pronounce this thing? Eudicium?
the
uh
Eudicium sounds right. I would also accept Eudicium. Like there's because
Yes. And by the time we get there, I feel like we have a very a pretty firm grasp on everything that's going on, and
yeah.
then we just
Yeah.
gets thrown for a loop, and
Oh
it's like there's
man,
way
yeah,
more to this than we could have known. And again, they did a great job of like laying the breadcrumb trail
definitely.
up to that point, because we did get to experience some of the like the ruins and some of the other kind of beyond mystical, because we already have will, so we're familiar with a little
Yeah.
bit of magic, but then beyond that, what are we really
Yeah,
dealing
but
with? I feel like it's
also
well set
like
up.
what that but this is the having more of this kind of magic or whatever the fuck it is so cool because it makes you question like what is will in the first place, like,
Yes.
and where does this power come from and why is it here? And I feel like those are all questions that are gonna be answered because there's fucking 3 different universes or 3 world, like what, like yeah, what the fuck is going on?
Yes, and it's crazy. um okay, we're gonna take a quick break, but don't go away, because when we come back, we're gonna continue our conversation on the will of the many. And we're back with Catonycus
Aha! Stronger
discussing
together, Benjamin.
stronger together. Yes, we are discussing the will of the many. And I have a question for you. This was one that I went back, tried to figure it out myself, and I couldn't. So I'm wondering if you know.
Great. Probably
Who
not.
is the girl in the theater at the beginning?
I don't think that there's any significance. I think it's just simply a girl that was described.
Gotcha, because she has
Yeah.
eyes. So that was the thing that threw me off because I was like, oh, it was definitely what's her name there, who is like Ulcizor's friend, um, the
Um,
one who trains him.
Lannistia.
Yes,
Um,
La,
I
yes,
would have maybe
Lannistia.
I would have maybe argued like could it was, but it's definitely a girl, right? He wasn't
It
like
is a
it's a
girl.
woman.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's not going to be any real, like it's not going to be Emissa. It's not going to be right. It's not going to be any of them.
There'd be no
Um,
reason for them
so
to care about
I
him.
simply think it was just like him, like it's like maybe it was like a girl that he liked prior to like going into the fight, or
They
seen her
definitely called
around.
her his like secret admirer or whatever,
Yeah,
and maybe it's just a hint that's like, okay, this is like low key attractive.
yeah, like he's got the sauce.
Okay, well, I was kind of hoping for more than that, but I also appreciate red herrings in a book with this much intrigue.
Yes, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
if you're gonna pull me in a direction that leads nowhere, as long as most of the threads are worth pulling, I'm willing to be kind of
I
fooled for
also,
a
yeah,
moment.
also think it's like super early on, right? And it's just like this is the place that he's been an orphan for a really long time, and he's been fighting in this thing for a while. And of course, he's gonna have like chicks that are just like, "Oh, Viz is so cool. He's gonna fight a
I'd be a
sextus."
fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, at the beginning, I said that one of my favorite things about this book that I think James Islington is specifically talented in is capturing the spectacle,
Oh
really
yes,
building up a moment
yeah,
and allowing you to really go there. So, a couple examples we brought up earlier were like fighting the Sextus in the theater, which again is so low stakes compared to some of the other things, but I feel like it was presented in a way that was so epic.
yeah.
Then the Namakya,
Oh, the
which
Namakya is so awesome.
and we have touched on that a little bit, but I think one of the things I really loved about it was the shift in perspective because it is already the like brutal like destruction of a bunch of people,
Yeah,
and then it just gets flipped on the audience, and then it's all the more horrific. So I felt like that kind of juxtaposition was really well done as well,
yeah.
turning the brutality of the society back in on itself.
And it's also like leading into the Namakya was Viz's like his perspective on things from who he is, and being like this is like all of this just for a spectacle, like all of
Yes.
this simply to distract these
Yeah.
people from what's really going on. And then to have that explode and have all these people start getting murdered. Yeah, absolutely wild. And the way that he describes it is so awesome too. I do have it highlighted, but the way him being like, if the outside of this arena was impressive, the inside is nothing short of magisterial. like that's so awesome. And then go into detail of describing it. Yeah, you really can see the arena.
Well, and that is also something that I feel like this book does well is kind of this underlying, like grief or kind of guilt that comes along with these truly amazing spectacle that the society is capable of creating, right? Like this
Yeah,
kind of like blood greases the gears of capitalism. It's like all these wonderful will powered whatever, from the transvex to the will powered carts to all the different complicated things like the labyrinth. It's because they're seeding will from people. Like that
yes,
all takes an intense amount of will, which
yes.
it's like the way that people live, like it makes them tired and less motivated to not
It's
have it.
it's kind of reminiscent of like the Rick and Morty and the car battery, where it's like
Yes.
these people's lives are simply built to like just do the Google box or whatever.
Yes.
And same here, like these people are just like they exist to make the powerful more powerful, and that power structure is seemingly never going to change because nobody wants to do anything about it.
Right, but
except for
the
the
end product is so enticing, right? And that's what makes it so sinister. Like,
yeah.
it's one of those things where if you like, it's kind of insidious to think about all the pain and suffering that goes into like my favorite Wings and Things combo from Zaxby's, right? It's like
Oh,
what is the cost of human potential that went into getting that to
yeah.
me so easily, especially if I'm getting it delivered using like Postmates or something.
Oh my
You know,
god.
like the
The
amount of
horror.
yes, like and that's why I feel like this book does is so it feels so applicable to real life because this hierarchy it's not so different from
No, dude,
the society we live in. Not
that's
to
what
go
makes
Joker mode on you,
I know. Oh, the society. Like we live in a hierarchy. Everyone knows that.
right?
But I that's what makes these books the best, dude. Is when they are simply just a reflection of your own existence. But that I mean that's what makes these books hit so hard, right?
Yes,
Because you're like, is this do I live in this? Like,
yes.
and then, but then you get to see someone like overcome the odds, no matter the cost. Basically,
Well,
that's the
and you
best shit ever.
well, and you can also look for inspiration on how to be because I look at this book and I'm kind of like, dang, I might be I'm Cadmos pilled. I feel like in real life, like,
Yeah,
and it's like, is that the best way to be? So I appreciate a book that brings out those questions and makes you
yeah,
not just live in the world they're living in, but bring that back to the real world. But yeah, the Namakea, what a crazy spectacle. Definitely a highlight of this book.
yes.
Really, really
Well,
creative
and
stuff.
I mean, the Namakea is so important. That's how Viz becomes Catonycus, right? This
Yes.
this this legend that he lives up to, and he was like trying to be low key going into the academy, and he like becomes this hero that like the people at the tops of these pyramids are recognizing who he is, and they're like, his potential to be the next Domitor, like
Yes.
he's gonna rise the ranks just because he's Catonycus. But it also comes with negative connotations. He's got tons of people who are like, or he has students that are like, you didn't act fast enough.
Oh
You
yeah.
saved this other girl, and my sister's dead because of you. And so there's people who hold it against him as much as
Yes.
there's people who hold it in his favor. So, yeah, the Namakea is so incredibly important, and it happens so early in this book. I love it. Like it really, you're like, holy shit, is he ever going to get to the academy?
Right. And that's why when I first started this book and they mentioned the Academy, I was like, oh no, it's gonna be like a like Academy trope, like Harry Potter-esque kind of like book. And even though it has aspects of the kind of like students who train and
Yes.
become great and like they're all prolific and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I like that trope.
Yeah,
And I
no,
feel
it's
like this
when executed correctly, it's so good, and it's kind of familiar, right? Like you
yes.
were in school at one point, weren't you?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like,
But this book does enough to separate itself in so many ways. We spend so much time not at the academy also that
yeah,
I feel like it uses that for what it needs it for, but doesn't use it as a crutch as like
yeah,
isn't this familiar, don't you love like school tropes in your book? Like
yeah,
I think they do a great job kind of balancing that. And so yeah, Namakea, epic. Then Sedotia slash Relucia being revealed as Ulcizor's wife.
yes,
Oh my, that
and
was a genuine, like, my hair blew
yes,
back as I was reading the book. Like, whoa, because I did not see that coming at all. And I was
no,
like,
yeah,
the
so awesome.
implications here, this multiplies the intrigue. It's
Yes,
halfway through the book. It's masterfully done.
yes, and it's like also in this moment where Viz is going to the festival of whatever, and they
It's
like,
like the Day of the Dead for them,
yeah,
essentially.
but
Yeah.
like the stakes going into just seeing his adopted father were so high because he failed to, or not failed, but like he's like only at tier
Oh,
six or class
yeah.
six or whatever, right? He's like pathetic at
Yeah.
best. And but then also like meeting the family, and then again finding out that Sedosha is Relucia, and like also to find out that they were recently married. Like it's like not too, it's not like they've been married a really long time. Like this is pretty new. So it's like, how long has this game been being played?
Yes.
Like, and when they meet in the Namakea, like Relucia is like, or at the time Sadosha is like, we've been scouting you for a long time, longer than him. Like we were gonna try to connect you guys, but it just kind of fate finds a way kind of situation. Um, yeah, and she's cutthroat, dude. She will kill students to get this dude above in ranking.
It's nothing to her. She'll
Yeah,
kill
it's
him.
nothing. Yeah,
You know,
she'll be like,
it's
if you don't get higher up, I'm gonna kill your friends. Like I'm gonna start killing people you know now, not just random students that you've seen in passing.
and she's like, you're not our only project, so don't start thinking we
Yeah.
need
So
you.
who else? Who else is in there? Because she's right. There are other people who have synchronized, right? Because I like her. This is leading into kind of what's happening next. But her role in this seems to be a part of causing the cataclysm or being against it. I don't know which side is which yet, but seems like that she is for the destruction of all these things, and having people who are synchronized is beneficial for her.
Right, yeah, and it's like, they talk about the cataclysm and, like, not knowing what came before that, but, I mean, the name cataclysm is pretty loaded, right? It's like, is it really bad? It sounds bad, but, I mean, how much do we really know about it?
Well, exactly. You're so right. Like, who called it the cataclysm? Was it the people who have
The
established
hierarchy
the
certainly call it
hierarchy? Like,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, obviously you're going to call the thing that's good for everyone bad if it's bad for the people who are on top. Um,
Exactly. And they're gonna fight against anybody finding it, or maybe try to take advantage of whatever portion of it they can.
yeah.
Because obviously religion is the one who kind of has. They were the ones who kind of ownership over this, right?
Yes.
Um, and Viridius or whatever, he's religion, right?
Yes. He's part of the religion. And right, that was the whole point of the Anguisse attacking, was because they want access to the labyrinth, and they're
Mm.
doing that through military. But then Viz is going to governance to figure
Yes.
out like what's going on from the inside, and I think that's fucking that's the shit, dude. That's so good.
Yeah,
I
the censor has definitely been built up to be like master of all information, which
Yes, which is so important, so
that's
important.
the
A
most
man who lies
powerful
about
thing.
everything. Yeah, a man who
Yeah.
lies about everything. Viz is definitely giving like Littlefinger a little bit by doing that.
Hmm.
I will know all things, and that will make me the most powerful.
I also am excited to meet Calidus's dad, the censor,
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
Calidus
Well,
definitely had a tough relationship with him.
and yeah, but I think that that's going to be like, I'm holding out hope that his dad will be upset about Calidus's death, and that is the connection for the two of them that they get to like kind of bond over, is they both loved Calidus, and that's how they'll be able to connect, and that's how Viz is going to choose to like rise through the ranks and become more powerful.
So okay, so another like big moment in the book, or
Yes,
a
big
big
moment.
highlight, I think, is returning to Seuss.
Yes.
And again, it was just really well. I feel like these things that it's why the book is so addicting, is because it's never too long until you're hitting another highlight, but
Yes.
they're not the same. It's not just a battle, or it's not just a like revelation of some secret. It's these things that are built up in a different way. And Seuss has been referenced so many times up until this point, and then we get "You're Going There," which I did
Yeah.
not have
Oh,
on
that was the
my
best shit ever. He's like, this
list.
little
Like,
island, but my family vacation at. We're gonna go there to train. It's called Seuss. Ever heard of it? And you're like,
yeah, and
fuck.
it's like he's gonna
Like,
get recognized. He's
yes,
like,
yeah,
and also, just the way that the book portrays the impact of the hierarchy on the way of life where he's from, the way that it looks, just the impact on the culture, all these things that he values so much. I mean, it was genuinely depressing. Like Vis's like mood while he was in Seuss, basically before he met up with the advisor guy in The Secret, like up until that point, he was in the dumps, dude. I honestly, it
yeah.
was like tough to read. I was getting bummed out
Hmm.
hearing Vis's internal monologue, because it was just hurting him so bad to see his homeland changed.
Um, but also like him going to Seuss wasn't like an act of kindness from the people in class three. I mean, the thing is that the people on the top do recognize, and by people I mean the academy, but also I guess like the
The,
hierarchy structure,
the
but they
senators and
they
stuff.
recognize Viz as like he's real shit. And they're like, you just got to do the next thing to get you up here. Once you're up here, dude, we're gonna be vibing. And but they did not invite him to train out of the kindness of their heart. He was invited to train because Relusha is like pulling the strings and pushing him there. And like the most iconic line in the book, she says before he goes, which is, the decision may have been made by the few, Diago, but it's the will of the many that killed your family. I know that that's like corny a little bit, but I fucking eat that shit up, dude. I ate it. I'm like, yes, it is. It's the will of the many that killed your family.
I definitely was holding my Kindle at arm's length and snapping my fingers and pointing
Oh,
because
you're like,
I'm like, oh,
oh,
there's like the title of the book.
yeah, there it is.
No, but yeah, again, like we joke about that, but it is her whole purpose for sending him there. She's like, don't
Yes.
forget who the real enemy is here.
Yeah.
And again, it's like the Angui, if they didn't have such brutal tactics, which again they argue are necessary,
Mhm.
they would be a lot easier to cheer for because they're the ones fighting the clearly evil structure that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
ruling this
and
world.
and uh, and like and that's like the whole thing about this book, and books like this where you're put in this morally gray area, and you're like, what am I rooting for here? Like, do I like what's the best thing for this person to do? And that's when that's the sweet spot, baby, because that's when they do some unhinged shit, and you're like,
Yes,
oh fuck, am I rooting for the bad guy? Like, is this the good guy? Like, well, I don't even know how to feel about this. So good.
it is.
Um, uh, Seuss also has like, it's not just going to Seuss that's epic too, right? Like, it's like he does some epic shit. He saves Emissa from death. Like, he jumps in that water and saves her after lying to all of them that he doesn't swim. Like, he fucking
Yes.
jumps in there and saves her ass because he does. There's a part of him that either loves her or, like, right, he's had strong feelings for her, obviously, to jump in and
Well,
save her.
yeah, and I think part of it too is just who Vis is. He's doesn't want her to die for no reason, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and he knows in an instant he's the only one that can save her. The thing that's also kind of funny about that though is he's talking to is Indol. Uh,
Indel, yeah, like the
yeah,
other.
and Indol knows that she wants him to go swimming, and he's like, yeah, she's out there like going swimming. And from his perspective, he's like, hey, like you want to go like
Yeah, like
skinny
go get
dipping
your,
with
yeah,
Emissa? And then
yes.
Vis just goes into a dead sprint, like
Takes off.
does not say another word, just takes off
Yeah.
through there. Like
Oh, he's
that
like,
is like,
damn,
dang,
Fizz
dude is
is down.
horny.
Yeah.
but
Damn.
but also it is super epic, and having him just like running up and be like, this is actually really dangerous. Also, everyone's going to know that I know what's going on here because I know that I can make this jump.
Yes.
Doesn't even think twice, just
Well, yeah,
jumps
well, because
for it.
his thought process is like, if I lie about it, it's simply like he always has the lie to come up with why he's doing something. But it was like, I'll just chalk it up to recklessness to save a person that I'm romantically interested in, right? And it's like, well, how are you going to argue against that?
Yes,
Uh,
and then it's like not easy for him either. Like it's like almost death, which there's so many times where he's pushing himself to his physical limits,
yeah.
and
Oh,
then we have
definitely.
the tender moments in the like
Like in the
grotto.
cave, yeah, in
Yeah.
the cave where they're like trapped because the ocean is like still kind of like coming in, and they
High
like can't really
tide.
be. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's high tide. Ah,
they got
yeah.
me. Yeah, James got me on this one. I was
Oh,
definitely, I was like loving the
shipping them
salty
hard.
kiss. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah. They kiss down there. Yes, dude. Um, yeah, I absolutely love Seuss. Um, there is an epic moment on here that you don't have, and it's actually my favorite moment in the book.
Lay it
But
on me.
it's where Calidus, or not Calidus, it's where fucking Viz one ups Belly in Foundation, dude. Where
Oh.
he's it's like their version of chess or whatever, and he's basically like, I'm gonna challenge her because she's like, I'm the shit at this. No one can beat me in Foundation, and but he, right, overcomes all odds, like beats her in this game while also like redeeming Calidus, right? Because she's got info on him. That's why he dropped to seventh. She was like blackmailing him,
Oh,
and
evil shit
yeah,
too.
dude, just
Like,
absolute evil.
and you got to feel bad for your boy because he was doing it because he had a crush on her. Like
Yeah,
Calidus wanted
yeah,
to be with Belly, and then
Well, he
she
was
just turns it on him like that. Come
the
on,
information was like for her that he was trying to tell her is that people go to the
Udicium.
the Udicium and die,
Yeah.
and they cover that shit up. I don't want you to die, and you don't believe me, so I'm going to prove it to you. And he steals information from the government, from his dad, that would put him in a sapper. Which, just thinking about it, Viz has done everything that he does enduring all the intense pain to not be in a sapper. Okay, so like that's got to be the worst shit ever. And so Calidus does all that, and then she takes that information and then blackmails him with it. But it's because I think that she fucking knew all that shit because she ends up running the labyrinth in the end and
Oh,
dies. Fuck that
yes.
bitch.
Okay, but that was what a moment.
Oh,
He's like
haunting.
he's
Haunting.
yes, he's running the labyrinth. He's doing it all. He's like, I've got this. I've got this. And then, oh shit.
Like the person who is the best at running the labyrinth is dead in front of me. I'm so fucked.
And like such a grisly death
Oh
too.
yeah, she's like pinned and her limbs are like cut off or whatever. Like she's just like
Yes.
bleeding, pinned on a wall.
Oh,
Oh,
so haunting.
gruesome. Yeah, like it literally it's like one of those moments where you go, oh shit.
Yes, and then he's like, "Oh no, oh no! I'm distracted. The whole like my only chance of survival is staying synchronized with like the plan here." And that was so good. So I mean,
Um,
the whole last I don't even know what chunk of the book, the last 15% is just straight payoff.
yeah.
Everything is just
Oh,
epic the whole
yeah.
time.
Constant payoff. And really like the final payoff is just like the setting up of what comes next, which is like really just a larger question. Like what is to happen next?
Yes. Well, and I think that kind of gets us a little bit into like first, I want to just take a moment to talk about how the hierarchy operates
Okay.
because we have like this information about how the different tiers work, and we have like a certain amount of Octavii and Septimi or
This
whatever the other ones are.
septimi. I don't know. That sounds good.
Sextus and yeah, like you have like basically that structure. But the part that and maybe they cover this and I just didn't like oh yeah, here it is. So we have the octavus, septimi, sextus, quintus, quartus, tertius, dimidius, and princeps, which receive will from different amounts of people, starting at 8 at the bottom for the septimus, who are seeding, from the octavii, but all the way up to the princeps, which have 46,000 people.
Yes.
And the thing that I feel like is not always brought to the forefront is how many of those people are on sappers. Because when we hear about the sappers at the beginning of the book, it's like there's a lot of people in there.
Oh yeah.
Which just again to go Joker mode on you, being in a sapper is kind of like being in prison.
Oh
And
yeah.
like we
Yeah.
have a disproportionate amount of people in our prisons here in the states. So it's interesting to think about how many of like there's always this threat of ending up in the sapper if you go against the
Yeah.
hierarchy, and
I would
that's a
also
lot of
like to
power.
I would also like to point out that that is one pyramid of
Yes, yeah.
how many, like who's at the top, who has, you know, multiple princeps ceding their will to the top guy, right? You're talking about multiple pyramids. Yeah, I mean, and so it is kind of funny when like it was like the Namakya happens and the guy's like, oh my god, I lost so many of my dudes. Like
Well, the other thing that I feel like is only touched on in this book, and we're gonna see it hopefully like definitely in the future, is the power level of somebody who has that much will. Like we
oh my
had
god,
these
yeah, what are they
sextus.
capable of?
Yes, they were throwing trees like they were nothing. But when he met with, I think he's a Quintus, he may have been a Quartus, but the Aquia's father, Aquia's father,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
they met up in the
They
baths.
met up in the bath, yeah.
And
A
I
total
felt,
Baron Harkonnen-esque guy.
yes, and the way they described him, it is very Baron Harkonnen, honestly. But I'm also giving off like has only read one other book and it's
Yeah,
Dune
yeah,
like
right,
vibes.
yeah.
But the way that they describe him being kind of like this heavy set individual,
Yeah.
kind of rotund, but just clearly hulking with power.
Yes. Yeah.
There's all like when you are, let's just say he's a Cordis, he's got like 2,000 people ceding will to him. So he's just a tank.
Yeah.
And that is just like a completely different level than we've really seen exercised in this book.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I would love to
if
see them go to war, go to
right, yeah,
action.
you're so right because right, the whole point of the academy is that none of them are ceding will, right? The whole point is let's see how society works where nobody has this insane power and just see kind of what happens. We'll let the best rise to the top and
Who
whatever.
deserves the power?
Yeah,
Who
who deserve yeah,
merits
who
that kind of
deserves the
power?
power, right?
Yes.
But then yeah, you see like Sextus throwing trees and shit and them and fucking Viz being like, yeah, I can try to fight one of these guys and just get rocked. But yeah, I can't wait to see the power scaling. It's going to go absolutely nuclear.
That's yes, and that's one of the things I think they've done well with the pacing. Because I mean, this is supposed to be a 3-book series.
It is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's like so far we've done a pretty good job of exploring like the bottom tier guys. So let's see, where
Well,
see where this
and
goes.
you're definitely going to see that because right because I mean, first of all, I think a lot of the second books, like in series like this, I'm praying that it does this because obviously it could you can blow up in my face that this book can suck. But if assuming that it's very good, the world building that happens now is going to be way better because it's the power scaling goes crazy. He's no longer like a student in a school. He's going to be like in the government
Yep.
interacting with people who are way stronger than him, like so much stronger. Which is why it makes sense that he's like totally wrecking all these kids who are not using any fucking willpower. He's just going to
Yes.
be epic in his own right. But now he's only has one arm, so we'll see how that plays a
Oh
part in
yeah,
things.
and that's a really interesting. Again, it's like this book leaves you in a moment where you're like, everything's changed
Yes,
now. How can it
yeah.
stop? Which is why it's so great that you suggested that reading this book at this exact time
Oh
frame
yes,
because
but
now we're ready for the next book.
the whole reason I recommended it is because I knew that I was going to, and I was like, I might as well pull someone into this hole. And I had you right where I wanted you with our last read, so
Yes.
it felt like a really good time to pull the trigger.
Yes. Well, I
Yeah,
do. I like our final topic is going to be looking ahead to the next book. Is there anything else you want to talk about for the will of the many before we look ahead to the strength of the few?
no, I'm good.
All right. Well, I guess my take in a nutshell is I need to read the next book. There's
Oh,
no way I can
obviously,
stop here.
yeah.
I'm excited to be. I mean, I haven't read a book upon release since Harry Potter, so
Oh,
I'm excited to be.
it hits, dude. It hits.
Yeah.
I love like a new release and just grinding into it because like you're so invested right now. That's when you read the books the fastest. Is
Yes.
we're gonna crush. You're just gonna crush the second one, and
Well,
and you're
and
gonna be like, fuck. Now I need the next one.
that's how this book was for me because as we were approaching kind of our self-imposed deadline so that we can have this
Yeah.
conversation, I started I got to the point where reading was the only thing I wanted to do. Where like football was on, but I was like, I'll mute that and put that in the background. But like I'm really reading, and only
Oh,
this
that's
is
the
for
best shit, dude.
fantasy. It's like I don't even need to be in the room with this. I need to be reading. I'm reading I got my Kindle in front of my face while I'm brushing my teeth, and then I'm like making poor bedtime decisions because I'm like I can't stop here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd
Of
be an
course.
insane person. I'm not gonna be able to
Yes.
sleep. I have no choice.
Yeah.
So it's and luckily it was I did stop the night before I finished the book. I stopped at the point where he had just told um is it Indul or Ero, the guy who was the top ranked in the top
Indul.
class?
Indul.
Indul, he like had just broken the news to Indul that they're all in danger and that shit is getting real. And
Oh
he was like
fuck.
sneaking up to where he was about to encounter that Angui guy who also
Yeah.
has gone through synchronous. So I hadn't met the Angui guy yet. That was literally the next screen
Oh,
on the Kindle
wow.
when
Yeah,
I
yeah,
decided to
yeah.
go to bed. So then the next day when I started reading it on my lunch break at work, I was like, oh, thank goodness I didn't get to this page, because then I
Yeah,
would not have been able to
yeah.
sleep. So yeah, it was just nonstop towards the end, which is, it's the climax of a book with many climactic moments, and it's just, I have no choice. I got to read the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm furious that I have to like. There's like this kind of 5 day, 4 day window where I don't have anything to read because I so desperately want to read that. Um, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, I've been looking forward to this book since May when I read the first time I read this around. Because I too was like up until 2 a.m. reading the book, and I was just like, just one more chapter, just one more chapter. So I'm very much looking forward to what comes next. It's always these like second books, like I stated before, that really build upon the world that we're already so invested in. That just makes it that much more epic, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. Like there's a lot of TikTok reviewers that I follow, like book people, book talkers
Mhm.
that have had the pre-release, and they were like, "This rips, be excited." So that's how I am, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'll probably read this book. I don't know. I'll read it really quickly because it'll be the only thing that I want to do. That's the best sensation ever. I
Yes.
love being so like nothing else matters right now except for me reading the next chapter.
I think that, yeah, the timing couldn't be better. I'm actually going on a trip next week, right after the book comes
Oh,
out, and
nice.
with the way that the airlines are going, there's a good chance that I'm going to be living in an
Trapped in an
airport
airport.
for
Yeah.
a while. So this will be my
Yeah.
escape into Catan.
That really helped me. I was flying last weekend and I was like, oh, I get to lock in for, but let's just say 4 to 5 hours of just reading,
Yes.
which when you get to the end there is, goes by pretty quickly.
Yeah. Shout out to the Coos method. There's nothing better
Oh,
than
nothing better than the Coos method.
having a book that can help you get through a long flight. So I'm really excited. I want to thank you for not just joining me on this conversation, but also for getting me to read a book. I think that
Yes.
that's actually pretty difficult. You are one of the few people who's achieved it on multiple occasions. I wouldn't have read Dune if it wasn't for you as well. So,
Nice.
you're this
Well,
guy. We need to get this guy in book sales because he's
yes.
he's got a talent for it.
I am
Yeah.
I'm simply, one of the many. There are a lot of people there's a lot of really good books out there. Everyone has their own taste. This is particular kind of in my field, I would say, of kind of the genre that I've been reading. Um, and I've got plenty in the tank. So
Yes.
whenever you want another one, let me
Well,
know.
I got to justify the Kindle at this point. I got to keep reading.
Oh,
So
dude, and
that's
The Kindle's so great too. Like reading on the go is so much easier. Like not having to hold a physical book. I like just having to carry around a big textbook basically and having to open it up just to read versus reading on my phone, reading on the Kindle, lying on my side at night. Kindle is elite.
yeah.
So those are the times that I love it, and yeah, it's great.
My dad actually has the Kindle holder that like puts it in front of your face, and he has a
Yep. And
clicker.
you have a clicker? Yep.
Yeah.
I bought that for Sam. Yeah.
No, that's
She's
luxury.
yeah, it is. I mean, and it looks luxurious, but I'm not built like that. I like to at least hold it a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Let's not make it too easy on
Yeah.
ourselves. But yeah. Okay. Well, it's been a while since I've done the outro on the podcast. Which camera do I look at? Right.
Oh,
But yeah, if thank you for listening to this. Let us know what you thought. The best place I think to comment would be either in this YouTube comment below or on our Instagram at Affable Chat. And you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast, whatever your RSS feed shows up. Catonycus, thank you so much for joining me today for this conversation. But that's
yes.
going to do it. And we're out.